So a lot of people have asked me to explain about this roof, and I always was going to. We were called in to put a new roof on this, and we lost the contract to the builder who was already on site, had the scaffolding up, and it seemed quite easy to just go ahead with him, which he did. But unfortunately, he found all these different defects on it once it had been done and wasn't happy. So he called us in and said, look, I know I used someone else, but it's all gone pear-shaped. Could you come in and sort it out for us? So within a few days, we were there. So we talked through with the customer what we should do now, and we talked through a lot of different details. We concluded that this particular roof needed stripping because there was water inside it, and we concluded that what we would do is that we would do a proper warm roof with an EPDM membrane over the top. Now it turns out that that probably wasn't the best decision at that time, because we hadn't done any core samples of the original roof. Although I'd done my original survey, I hadn't gone to the point of doing core samples. So I was going on the information that the customer was giving me that there was no insulation under the old roof, which is under this roof. Let me show you what the roof looked like before this roof was put down. And as you can see, it's just a standard felt roof. It's not in that bad a condition. However, it was leaking, and there was no insulation, or I was told there was no insulation underneath it. So it was decided that what we would do is strip it and put a nice new warm roof down. Well, when we're doing a warm roof, we have the vapor barrier. So we were going to use the existing roof, the felt, as the vapor barrier. However, around the perimeter, we've got to take the insulation right down to the wall, so that we bring the insulation that is going across the top down to the next thermal element, which would be the wall down below. So whilst the roof's being stripped, you'll see me going across the front of the roof, taking and cutting out the section of roof so that I can insert insulation into that part. I'm putting insulation in there. I'm using the old insulation to go in there. I'm foaming it in, getting ready to put a vapor barrier over the top and finish the roof. As you can see here, this is ready for the night. We've cleaned the roof, and we've got not only have we got the integrity of the roof back, so that we've got night joints in here, but it's also got a good vapor barrier all the way around. Where we've ripped off the old roof, we've replaced the vapor barrier. So now we're nearly ready to do our warm roof. However, I've still got to go along the right hand side, cut that open and insert insulation so that the insulation goes down to the wall. As you can see, you've watched me do it across the front. You didn't watch me do it down the side. It's pointless. It's the same as the front, so I haven't shown you that. So let's show you the process of thought behind this, because the lead at the side here is really quite deep, and we think we know there's no insulation inside this roof, but somewhere along the line here, the brickwork doesn't go right the way up to the top, and somewhere along the line, if we put the insulation over the top, the insulation, the quilt of insulation that is over the top, wouldn't be joining to the wall down below. So the idea of ripping the roof off and going all the way around at the top is so that we can extend the insulation down to the next thermal element. Okay, let's clarify that. This is where the insulation is at the moment with the new warm roof. This section here, there will be no insulation, and the wall will finish somewhere around about here. And using this as an example, between each joist that runs across here, at the moment there's no insulation, and that needs to be filled so that the thermal element of the roof joins the wall down below. Now, unfortunately on this roof we found that there was already some insulation inside. I didn't know that before because we didn't do any trial holes to see what was going on. The customer didn't know it had been done, so it'd probably been done previously for him moving in. The insulation hasn't been put in that well. There are gaps like this gap between the rest of the build up, and also the foil there is, we're assuming, is the vapor barrier, and they're just relying on the foil back insulation as a vapor barrier in here. So at this stage it's a matter of taking all this information back to our engineer, talking to the customer and trying to work out exactly where and what the customer wants to do and really what's best for the roof. And after quite a lot of conversations, we determined that probably the best thing to do is to put the roof back exactly as it was, do absolutely nothing, don't do a warm roof, don't put any ventilation in, leave it as it is. That way we don't get involved with any building control, we're not getting involved with Part L of the building regulations. Now that decision was made on the basis that at the moment this has been in here like this for sort of 7 years or so, because that's when he moved in which case if it survived for 7 years and thermally inside he was happy with it, if we hadn't changed anything, then we're not going to get involved with any kind of moisture or needing any more kind of ventilation, and also the costs of doing so. So it was decided to put it all back together and then just put a new roof over the top without putting any insulation in. Now what I must add to this is that this was carried out when we had the first lockdown and everybody was really locked down. Access to this roof, although from the scaffolding was good, we were actually going through different alleys, so we didn't have to go through the gentleman's house, and there was a lot to take in at that particular time. Personally, I would have loved to have turned it into a warm roof, but there was so much more involved in doing that. So the decision that was made at that time was to put it back exactly as it was. So here we are with the finished project, with the new EPDM finished over the top, all the tiles dressed down onto the EPDM, and new black metal flashings all the way around the perimeter just to finish it off. Hopefully that explains this roof to you. If you need any more information, please don't hesitate to contact me.